Aging, and its effects on how we drive, are not topics many people feel comfortable talking about. Few of us like to discuss our age, so to associate age with our ability to drive, and thus, for many, our sense of independence, can be unsettling or upsetting. However, knowing the effects of aging on driving, and knowing how to talk about it, are keys to protecting both yourself and your loved ones. Research has shown that beginning as early as our 40s, faculties that are important to driving, like vision and reaction speed, can begin to worsen. Other issues, like decreases in hearing ability, range of motion, and strength, can also begin to develop. Of course, this doesn't mean there's a hard cutoff age after which people shouldn't drive. Driving ability varies from person to person at every age level, and in fact, older drivers tend to be among the safest on the road, able to draw from more years of experience than younger drivers. Still, as our bodies age, we become more vulnerable during driving crises, as abilities like firm gripping, turning, and pressing become compromised. To keep yourself, your loved ones, and others on the road safe, it is important to start talking about how aging affects driving early and often. Consider starting a conversation at relevant times, such as during insurance renewal, car repair or purchase, times of medical developments, or after a driving incident. Importantly, however, do not bring up driving retirement or other safety measures while in the car or at the scene of an incident, as stressful circumstances like these can lead to negative reception or refusal of the issue. As you start having these conversations, it is important that you focus on the driver's needs and safety. Avoid you statements in favor of more personal I statements. For example, a sentence like, "You need to stop driving," is rather confrontational and is unlikely to move a conversation forward. Additionally, commanding statements like this deny the driver agency in deciding what's best for them. Driving retirement may become necessary in some cases, but not always. Instead, consider this sentence: "I care about you, and I want to make sure you and other drivers are safe on the road." By framing the discussion in terms of your own thoughts and feelings, and by focusing on the driver's needs, you can create a much more welcoming environment for healthy and effective conversation. Plus, you now have room to discuss a variety of measures focused on improving safety, whether you decide driving retirement is the goal or not. Make sure to offer solutions. Consider gradually introducing transportation alternatives, like carpooling with family and friends, or riding together on public transit. Though many alternatives might sound costly or cumbersome at first, there are a variety of programs throughout Tompkins County designed to make transportation more accessible to groups with different needs. TCAT, for example, offers half-fare options for those who receive supplemental security income, Social Security disability, Veterans Administration, and other benefits. Meanwhile, services like Gadabout cater specifically to those who have a disability or are 55 and older, who may find it difficult to ride most buses. For individualized rides to medical appointments, Tompkins County also has a number of free, volunteer-led driving programs, such as FISH or Disabled American Veterans. For more information on accessible mobility options, visit waytogo.org. When the driver speaks, be sure to listen carefully and respectfully. Although you may have a lot to say, it is equally important that you hear their perspective. Patience is also key. It is unlikely you will figure everything out in just one conversation. If a conversation doesn't go well the first time, wait and try bringing it up again later. Consider what might help for the next conversation, and use the time in between to research alternatives you might propose. Be persistent, but not overbearing. Sometimes, even when you follow the guidelines we've covered so far, a driver may continue to resist conversations about driving safety or driving alternatives. In situations like these, further steps may need to be taken to protect the safety of the driver and those around them. Before considering these next steps, be sure you have exhausted conversation alone as a means of ensuring safety. If a driver is resistant to suggestions of using transportation alternatives like carpooling or public transit, you may need to insist on driving them yourself or on arranging rides with others. If the driver continues to drive him or herself, you may need to limit the passengers they can take with them. Consider getting a doctor involved who can make professional safety recommendations directly to the driver. If the situation becomes urgent, you can order a DMV reevaluation on the driver's behalf, which may result in their license being temporarily revoked. Even still, some drivers may continue to drive without a license. If this happens, you may need to resort to disabling or removing the driver's vehicle. If you choose to make a driver's car inaccessible, it is recommended that you inform the driver directly of what you are doing and why, rather than doing so covertly. Even after removing a driver's vehicle, be aware that more conversation will likely be necessary to reach an understanding and help the driver adjust to living without a car. Continue to emphasize the driver's safety and work together to find new transportation solutions. Ultimately, changing a driver's behavior can be very difficult, especially for those who have been driving regularly their entire lives. For many, driving is closely tied to a sense of autonomy, so easing away from driving can be understandably challenging. Often, the best first step we can take to promote driving safety is to model safe driving practices ourselves. Follow driving safety tips like those mentioned in our other 2 videos on aging and driving, and at our website, waytogo.org. In the meantime, drive safe.